Hello and welcome, Mary Fonsalado from web7.com. Today I wanted to cover some of the areas of deficiency of Squarespace. So there are a couple of areas where Squarespace is lacking in. They're rarely ever covered in a review, and I think that's because they are negligible. Squarespace is an awesome platform and has incredible business and marketing features. I use it for all of my internal and customer projects. So I love it. The interface is extremely user friendly. It makes building a website very fun. And you kind of need that when you're doing it regularly. That being said, there are a couple of areas of frustration that I have with the platform. So let's get right into it. The first one is that there aren't any sidebars. So regardless of whether you choose a pre-designed template when building on a new site or building your own template from scratch using either this sort of AI version of their editor or adding a blank page and then pasting on kind of what you want to have on your site, while you could have a very custom look per individual page, you can't add and you could add a sort of flow sidebar to each individual page and just kind of duplicate it. It's not easy to have a sidebar that runs through your entire site or the main content pages of your site. So if you wanted to do that, you would have to add a third-party plugin, which is what I have done here, or you could custom code it from scratch. But once again, we're talking about native features, what's included in Squarespace, and they just don't have this. If I wanted to have a sidebar, I would have to go out and buy it, or once again, create it from scratch. Very annoying. But once again, negligible. I purchased this plugin for approximately, I think it was 150 or $200 US, keeping in mind that it was the commercial license, meaning that I could use it for multiple sites as I have displayed on my fitness site as well. This is web.org. You could see it on other pages as well. It's this bit of content right here. In this case, it's a promotion of a product. And on the web marketing side, it's just redirecting traffic to other areas of my information site, web.co. So this is my main services site, and it does not have a sidebar, and it's utilizing the latest version of Squarespace. And once again, I could add a sidebar, but it'll be on a per page basis. I would have to manually go into other pages, even within maybe the same folder, and not, it wouldn't display unless I would do it manually. So that's a feature that Squarespace needs to add. They used to have it in previous versions of their platform. I'm not sure why they got rid of it. I think with the advent of the mobile revolution, it makes it understandable that it's less relevant to have a sidebar. That being said, with today's technology, we could easily have a sidebar that appears on the side of your page and on a desktop, more of a desktop view, and then on a smartphone or a tablet in portrait mode, this content just displays beneath the main content area as you scroll down the page. So I really don't know what the problem is, but it could be that Squarespace just wants to keep things simple, and they are kind of known for that. That being said, it's such a powerful platform, and they are entering a more enterprise market moving forward, it seems, targeting bigger companies and trying to get them to use Squarespace. So they're going to have to add this eventually. The other point that also is a frustration to me is that there are no breadcrumbs. So looking at my fitness site once again, I added one manually here. I have to go on a page by page basis and add these links here. And if I wanted to, for example, change the about section to the name topic and have that displayed on all the other bio pages, because I might hire somebody in the near future to work with me and be a co-author and be listed on my about page, and that would create kind of like a tiered page. and I have the breadcrumbs displayed at the top, I would want to have this changed to that other word I want to change it to on all those other pages, but it has to be done on a per page basis. That, it being not being a native feature at the moment on Squarespace. So can you imagine having maybe hundreds of employees listed on an about page, and then there's a sub page for those employees, and then you have breadcrumbs that you want to have displayed at the top of your pages? You would have to, just by wanting to have make a simple change to the title of the section, you would have to go into all of those hundreds of pages and just re-add, or rather change the word to topic. That in itself could take hours, if not days, if not months. So I think you guys are getting the point. Moving towards something that's very related, there are no tiered pages within Squarespace. So you can have the home page, and there will be some folders. Actually, this is kind of like a main landing page to my home page, but in any case, you can have like folders so that you would, actually a better example would be on my web marketing site. If you scroll over services, for example, and there's do it for you, right? This leads to my web marketing services site, and do it yourself is kind of, offering some guides to building a site yourself independently. You can have folders that represent this section, but really all it is a page, and on that page you can just add some links, and you might think that you're kind of going deeper into the site, but the sitemap doesn't reflect that really. Really what it is every page is just kind of stacked one on top of the other, and you have to visually make it look like you have subpages and subcategories by doing some of the things of adding breadcrumbs to your pages. But I'm doing it manually at the moment, and as you can imagine, very annoying, very difficult to do when you have a larger site. And once again, it's tied to the fact that there aren't any tiered pages. In the web design, or rather the web development world, this would be called not subfolders, excuse me. I'm not able to think about it at the moment. It's nested folders is the term. So you would have a home page, and then a folder, and then a subfolder, and those subfolders are all nested into the previous folder. And whether it's a folder, or it's like meaning a kind of like its own section, or it's a page, either way, it's something that Squarespace doesn't have, and it would, if they had it, it would make content management much easier, especially for a larger website. I mean, simple brochureware 5-page websites don't need breadcrumbs, but even they could find it beneficial. I mean, I added to my web marketing site on the about page. Like I kind of added it manually so somebody could just get back to the home page without having to click the back button of their browser. It's kind of like best practices, for the user and for yourself as well. Ideally, if it's integrated into the platform. Unfortunately, with Squarespace, it's not. So my gripes with Squarespace, by the way, are not many. This video is about that, but as I might have mentioned, I use Squarespace for all of my customer and internal projects. And of course, the reasons being that the main reason being that there are so many business and marketing features, and the design editor is quite powerful on a per page basis, and it has everything I need, and does for me overpower many of the other platforms, just because it's so great on a general level. I do think Squarespace right now is the best general purpose website builder. Even against some of the once again more powerful kind of content management systems out there. So without getting too sidetracked, let's get to the next gripe I have, and it's the section-wide content. I already mentioned sidebars, but an individual that wants to publish a site can have content that displays within certain sections in the various areas of your site. So it doesn't have to be on either of the sides in desktop view. It could be in the middle. It could be, above the navigation bar. It could be below the footer. And ideally, it would span across the sections and not be really site wide, be across your entire site. So that would be it would even be a step higher than having site wide content. It would be to have section wide content. And I'm not sure if I'm making myself clear, but if you're someone that has been building sites for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is something that is not really present on any system other than more advanced CMSs or content management systems, typically utilized by web developers building out sites for larger companies, so medium to large size businesses. Getting into like HubSpot is probably at the lowest end of that, but then there's Sitefinity and Sitecore and many other enterprise grade platforms. Why those platforms are considered enterprise grade is because of all those content management features, and that's what makes them a content management system. Aside from the fact that developers and designers and other web professionals, including marketers, will utilize the platform to build for others, it's also excellent at just managing content and displaying that content in various nuances and various ways across your website, and in the meantime remaining simple, because try to imagine having a large site and all of the things you're doing to add content to various sections and various subpages and subpages. Imagine doing all of this manually, and anytime you want to make one little change to something that is supposed to be considered a sort of umbrella area of your site that is enveloping the pages that make up this sort of section, it becomes a nightmare, honestly. So that's another one, section wide, not limited to sidebars. So it's basically that sidebar mentality, except having it displayed in various areas of your site. It could be in the top corner as a sort of light box. It can be basically hovering over your site, with a little bit of transparency. There's so many ways that a company can do this, but I've yet to see it on more consumer-based platforms like Squarespace. It'd be great if Squarespace could be the first to really add those. They used to have section-wide content, not just site-wide content, even section-wide content. So I know they can do it, but we're going back like 2 or 3 versions ago. So I don't know if they're going to bring it back, but if they're going to attack that enterprise market, I think they're going to have to. What else is there? No multiple menu bars. So again, we're talking a lot of site-wide and section-wide kind of features. Multiple menu bars. You can have, let's just go to a more modern website. This is my web services site built on the latest version of the platform. And you can see how basic it is. I purposely removed the social links, like social networking links. The search tab, I believe you can add a search tab. You can have a add to cart tab, and you could kind of place them in different orders and maybe one on top of the other. But if you want to have like a secondary actual navigation bar, it just doesn't exist with Squarespace. You would have to add it as a within the announcement bar, which is this thing right here. You can see I placed it right above with a little bit of a gap. There doesn't need to be a gap. That was a design choice. I could put it here, kind of like a black or carbon kind of colored navigation bar with little white links or light gray links, to kind of complement this sort of look I have going on here, offering a nice little contrast. But as much as it's native to the platform, like the announcement bar is a native feature that enables you to add text and add some links and clickable links, and it's very easy to do and it's all built in. it's not meant to be a navigation bar. And once again, getting back to managing a lot of content throughout your site and maybe folders and maybe subsections and stuff, it would get complicated even to have that over here, because even if there's 3 or 4 or 5 links, as in this case, if you want to like reorder things, you always have to do it like manually. You can't just kind of reorder your pages within a folder or something like that and it'll rearrange itself here. You would and across your entire site, you would have to go into the announcement bar section and just, you know, switch the words, rewrite it. Not a big issue because this is site-wide, so I should mention that it's not something that would have to be done on a per page basis, but it's still a little bit of a frustration to have to use a different tool to have a another navigation bar. So that's really it. If you want to learn more about the benefits, which greatly outweigh the disadvantages of using Squarespace, go to web.co/Squarespace and you'll be redirected to an article that I wrote, which is quite in depth, but it's once again, it's covering more the benefits and reasons why I use Squarespace. So do check that out, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.